Hello there. Sorry guys I was gone for a while, but I have something to talk about, and that is Edward's adventure. Oh, this story really sucks. So why is it terrible? Well, what I can exactly remember, 2 years ago, I was very inspired by other fanfictions on Thomas and Friends, so I decided to make my own, which Edward is the main character. I actually think I made this story under, 2 hours, which is really fast. And the quality is pretty crap. Okay. Now let's start talking about the actual story now. It starts with Edward switching trucks at the yards of Navport with his driver called Steve. I have a problem with this because it's in parentheses. Why can't I write it without it? It makes it less cringe. Okay, back to the story. After doing a lot of work at the yards, the sun is now setting, and his driver asks to him either he wants to keep on working or just to go back to his shed and rest, which Edward chooses the latter option. So they went. It's now nighttime, and Edward and his driver are still not at the sheds. Soon, both of them realize they are now lost. They decide to push on, hoping they will reach their destination. It's been an hour. Any sign of buildings are nowhere to be seen. Edward looked back and asked his driver, but to his horror, no one was driving him. His driver vanished. At the same time, his wheels began to go faster and faster. He screamed in horror as he tried to call out for help, even his driver, but all in vain. Suddenly, buildings started to appear around him, and Edward was going straight to a station. As he passed by, no one there, including the steam engine, even took notice. As things couldn't get any worse, the line that he's on goes towards a destroyed bridge. He can't brake, he can't do anything. He's doomed, and there's nothing he can stop now. Wow, things got very dark, and the funny thing is, this is all a dream. Yeah, you heard me. Everything you saw up to now is all a dream. It doesn't really affect the rest of the story, and it is totally different. The worst part is, at this point, I retconned the drivers. Here, the engines literally drive themselves. It's really that bad, oh my gosh. Oh well, it's sort of foreshadows the rest of the book's events, like some of it, but mostly it's just disconnected. I still don't understand why is it there. Why is it like that? What I mean foreshadowing is, during the dream sequence, I didn't include one single element, and that is the quarry. Between the station scene and the the viaduct, he was supposed to go through a quarry and to the viaduct. I didn't specify which quarry it was, but yeah. Okay, I'm gonna speedrun this story really fast because I'm not doing what I did earlier. The story is really bad, so I'm gonna make this quick. So, Edward is sent by Sir Tom Hat to fetch Gordon some coaches. He's then delayed by Diesel, who derails in front of him. Wow. Then, he finally goes to Gordon and gives him the coaches there, and gets yelled at because he was 30 minutes late. Then Edward lies. What? Come on. This feels like Thomas. Thomas would lie, not Edward. And Gordon and Edward in this scene is very out of character. After this scene, Sir Thomas Hat comes out and scolds Gordon for this, and sends Edward to the quarry to get some rocks from Farquhar to Brendam Docks. Okay, I don't get why I need to explain why some characters are not seen in the story, because they were working on the mainland in Lancaster to build a station. Why? Do I need to say this? No! But I put it in there. Okay, now Edward is going towards Farquhar, where the quarry is, and stumbles upon an old bridge. Then, uh-oh, the bridge collapses and he falls down into the ravine into a small hole and gets knocked out. A while later, everyone is getting worried that Edward has somehow gone missing, and which James, Henry, and Gordon and Sir Tom and Had go and try and save Edward. At the same time, Edward wakes up and finds himself in a cave and tries to move on the rocky surface and finds a hole in front of him, leading him to the outside, on a cliffside. Sadly, he doesn't have any coal or steam left to whistle out, as everyone down there at the quarry calling out his name, but gets eventually found by James. Now he was going to be lifted by the crane to be put down to the ground safely. He thought the chaos has ended, but he was wrong. The crane started to strain on his weight and started to break. Everyone was panicking, and Edward thought for the worst that he was probably gonna die falling down to the ground. Fortunately, Sir Topham had an idea. He ordered the operator to aim the crane arm towards a pile of cardboard boxes. Once Edward was below, they dropped him just in time when the crane decided to fall into pieces, and Edward crashed into those piles with a mighty smash, creating a great cloud of dust. But somehow, there was a metal box deep in that pile, which hit Edward so hard, it knocked him out cold. Wow, he is having a very bad day. And so, several months later, Edward wakes up in the steamworks. He sees Sir Topham Hatt there, and they both talk. This is supposed to be a heartfelt scene, but it doesn't really work, and it feels a little forced. So, Edward and Sir Topham Hatt say goodnight to each other, and he goes to sleep. Yay. Oh my god, finally, I'm done with this freaking... Even though I didn't really fully destroy this story, you can really tell from the writing, this is very rushed. I think Edward was very out of character, and he felt like Thomas more than himself. And Gordon was being very mean. Like, did he learn to respect him in season 1? Why? Guess for drama. What I'm saying is, this story is perfect. I just don't like how Edward was used. How the beginning part is very edgy, while the rest is pretty much vanilla. And the realism here is pretty much non-existent. Although it's not my very first story I made, it wouldn't be the last of me writing about Thomas and friends. Yep, I made 2 more of them, and they are worse than this story. But that's another fanfiction for another time. I hope we see each other again. See ya.